Ever had someone steal from you, then call the cops on you for catching them? Yeah, that's how my story starts. Me, standing there with a ripped-out extension cord in one hand, while my neighbor Karen, who's been juicing my electricity for 8 straight months, is on the phone hollering to 911 that I'm threatening disabled people. I wish I was kidding. No, this is Colorado, baby, and that orange cord she'd snaked through 200 feet of pine needles was still warm when I yanked it. And there she was, Karen in all her glory, blowout hair, brand new Patagonia that's never seen a drop of mud, phone glued to her ear, telling the world I'm the villain. If you'd told me I'd spend my early 40s feuding with a professional victim in designer hiking boots, I'd have asked what you're smoking. But let's rewind a second, because you got to know how I ended up here, and why Karen really picked the worst possible neighbor to mess with. Name's Jake Morrison. Couple years back, I inherited my grandpa's cabin up in the Rockies. Place is a legend. Hand-built in 1947, 40 acres of pine and aspen, 2 hours from Denver, but might as well be the moon. Grandpa Henry was the kind of guy who could fix anything with baling wire and stubbornness. The cabin smells like cedar and old pipe tobacco, and the workshop still has his tools hanging up in perfect order, like he's about to walk in. After 20 years in the Army, bouncing from desert to jungle to God knows where, I came here to heal, clear my head, maybe figure out if a guy who's spent his adult life on deployment can become the sort of person who sits still. I do remote electrical engineering now, and the irony of that job title, well, let's just say it'll come around. First year and a half was heaven. Solar panels thrumming on the roof, creek burbling down the hill. The only drama was whether my coffee pot would outlast another winter. Grandpa always said, energy's everywhere, just gotta know how to tap into it. Turns out he was right. For a while, the only thing on my mind was whether I'd see more elk or bear tracks out by the woodpile. Then, one August afternoon, a moving truck rattles up the mountain and Karen Whitmore enters my life. She bought the old Perkins lot down the road. 5 acres, half a mile of forest between us, which in mountain terms is practically living on top of each other. Day one, she's at my door, all fake smiles and thinly veiled complaints. My truck's too loud, my panels are unsightly, my porch light is a disturbance. 3 days later, her property looks like a KOA resort. 3 RVs, all behemoths, air conditioners going full blast, enough extension cords to trip up a moose. I figured, all right, city lady's gonna do her thing. Just keep to yourself, Jake. Except Karen doesn't do keeping to herself. She does drama. A week after moving in, she's knocking, tears in her eyes. My disabled brother's visiting. He needs his oxygen machine. Could you, just for a few days, run a cord over? Promise I'll pay for what I use. Now, I may look like a mountain hermit, but I'm not a monster. I told her, small cord, medical stuff only, and you cover your share. Next morning, I wake up and that tiny cord is a thick orange contractor cable. By sundown, there are floodlights on at her place bright enough to land helicopters, a hot tub bubbling like it's Vegas, and fans running day and night. That month, my power bill jumps from $80 to $340. I mean, I used to spend more on beer than electricity. Now, I'm subsidizing Karen's spa days and what I'm pretty sure is a hydroponic garden big enough to feed a dispensary. Every time I bring it up, she goes full gaslight. Oh, are you sure your system's working right, Jake? Maybe it's a wiring problem. Maybe the forest is draining your panels. Lady, the only thing draining my panels is your resort. Then came the complaints about my truck, my generator, my supposed violations of property aesthetics. All this in a place where the nearest neighbor is half a mile away and the main local government is the weather. She started coming over, uninvited, snapping pictures, quizzing me on my boundary markers, hinting she'd been talking to the county. Something flipped in me. I started paying close attention to the orange cord, the way her temporary emergency became permanent infrastructure. See, here's what Karen never knew. Grandpa Henry wasn't just a stubborn old man. He was one of the guys who built the Pine Ridge Power Cooperative back when companies said no profit in stringing lines up that far. Grandpa made his own damn power company. And me? I've spent 15 years designing and troubleshooting electrical systems all over the world. places where, if you mess up, people die. I can read utility documents like most folks read cereal boxes. But Karen, she's played her part, calling the cops, turning the story upside down. He's trying to kill my disabled brother. He cut our medical power. She's giving the performance of a lifetime. The sheriff shows up, Deputy Rodriguez, and I show him photos, bills, the smoking gun cord. Karen whips out a legal-looking document claiming she has easement rights from the 50s, some kind of shared access granddaddy clause. Rodriguez's eyes say he wants to be anywhere but here, refereeing mountain drama, but he takes it seriously. Karen's paper looks real at a glance. Letterhead, seals, signatures. But something's off. The font, the paper, the utility company name. Rocky Mountain Power Collective? Never heard of it. Karen's triumphant. All see. I know my rights. Threatening lawsuits for discrimination, civil rights, disabled access. She thinks she's checkmated me. But the world has a funny way of flipping the script. That night, I dig into Karen's history. Phoenix, Tucson, Flagstaff. Everywhere she goes, there's a trail of stolen water, gray water scams, fake disability claims, forged utility docs. Every time, she milks the system, then settles out of court before anyone really gets wise. But this time, she picked the wrong target. Next morning, the county inspector shows up. Dale Morrison, no relation, though everyone up here is practically cousins. Karen's filed complaints about my solar panels. Says I'm violating every code in the book. Dale walks through my setup, shakes his head. Jake, this is textbook, better than code. But your neighbor, she's running 3 RVs like a power plant, and I can't find a single permit. While he's documenting every violation, I head to town for hardware. Bill at the store says, Jake, your neighbor's been asking about adverse possession. How long before you can claim someone's land by using it? I think she's planning to steal your place. That's when it hits me. This isn't just about power. It's about property, about leverage, about how far some folks will go when they think you're weak. That evening, Karen's lawyer calls. You're denying federal disability access. We're prepared to settle for restoration of power plus damages. I tell her, have your client submit those documents to the state for authentication. Long pause. We'd rather settle privately. Yeah, I bet you would. And while all this is going on, someone in very expensive boots starts tampering with my meter. What Karen doesn't know is that modern meters have tamper alarms, and every time she tries to reconnect, the system logs it. I call Marcus, my old Army buddy, who now does forensic investigations. He comes up, snaps photos, takes samples. Jake, he says, this is professional. Whoever's helping her knows utility systems inside and out. Then, as if scripted, Karen ups the ante, brings out the media. Channel 7 investigates. All bright lights and gotcha questions. Shows up in my driveway. Karen standing beside oxygen tanks and monitors that weren't there yesterday. Cue the waterworks. But this time the story slips. I invite the reporter in, show her the forged documents, the tampered meters, Marcus's report. Reporter's eyes go wide. This isn't a small-town dispute. It's a fraud operation. Karen's planned exclusive turns into a grilling about multi-state crime. After that, Karen gets desperate. Tries to cut my main feed using an emergency tree trimming crew, lying about sparking lines endangering disabled residents. I stop the work. No permit, no danger, and no, you can't cut down the co-op's lines because you're losing an argument. The crew leaves in a huff. Karen's mask is cracking. Now comes the real twist, the Pine Ridge Power Cooperative. I go down to their office, and the moment Margaret Torres, 80-year-old front desk dragon, sees me, she nearly falls out of her chair. Henry Morrison's boy. Jake, we've been waiting for you. Your grandpa owned 40% of the cooperative. You're the chairman now. Turns out, Karen's been stealing from the guy who literally owns the company. The one person in 3 counties with the authority to terminate her service, press charges, and call an emergency board meeting. That night, our meeting is standing room only. Every family, every rancher, every store owner in the service area. Karen's there, still putting on her victim play, but now the crowd's seen through it. I explain how her theft raised everyone's bills, how she threatened to cut power to every home in the county with bogus lawsuits. Margaret, steel in her spine, calls for a vote. 400 hands go up, unanimous. Her service is terminated, her case referred to the feds. As they cuff her, Karen screams, "You'll regret this. I have connections." Detective Kowalski just grins. So do we. In the months that follow, Karen's whole network unravels. Federal wire fraud, civil rights fraud, interstate theft. She's doing time. Her fake disabled brother's doing time. Her lawyer loses his license. The utility insider gets pinched. The county seizes her land for unpaid fees, turns it into a real campground for disabled vets. The money recovered from the scam goes into a scholarship for local kids. Kids who will grow up to protect their communities just like Grandpa dreamed. And me? I finally get to breathe. Coffee on the porch tastes like peace now, and the old cabin is filled with life again. Marcus's cousin Sarah moves up to run the co-op's new renewables program, and suddenly, the place is alive with laughter, with plans, with possibility. If there's a lesson in all this, and believe me, I didn't see it coming, it's that justice doesn't always show up with sirens blaring. Sometimes, justice is a bunch of neighbors in flannel shirts showing up at a meeting to say enough. It's the quiet strength of people who refuse to be bullied, the stubbornness to hold the line. Some folks think they can come out here, run their con, and disappear, but mountains have long memories. Try to steal from one of us, you're fighting the whole valley. Now, I'll end this the way Grandpa would, by throwing it back to you. Ever dealt with someone who thought your kindness was weakness? When does standing up for yourself become revenge? Where's the line between justice and retribution? Drop your thoughts below. Share your own war stories, because out here, we look out for each other, and the fight for what's right never really ends.